It couldn't catch another ship, yeah. And it's like a lotus, so it's time to flip the script, yeah. Cruising through the bay on that fucking little battleship, sold up, screaming out.
Welcome to another edition of Buck What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Super Heavyweight. You follow me, I'll follow you back. And tonight, this is a special night. We're joined by my guy here, one of the writers over at Steeler Wire. And Mark, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good. How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm Mark. Goodness gracious me. Brian, kill me, Brian.
I'll answer to anything.
Brian Harker with Steeler Wire. I want to start out, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be facing the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday. I know there's a Monday night game going on. I know that it was kind of tough scheduling you in throughout the week, so I really appreciate you coming on. With everything going on with football season, it's just real busy for everybody. So thank you first off for coming on, and tell everybody how they can get a hold of you and check out your work.
I'm at Steelers Wire. On Twitter, I'm at Brian_Harker SW. I also have a website called Pittsburgh Sports Zone. I haven't been able to contribute as much there recently because I got a lot going on at Steelers Wire, but it's another additional place to find more Steeler content. Yeah.
And I read some of your work, and I was like, man, I got to see if I can get this guy on here so we can talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. To me, this is one of the games that I had circled on my calendar. The Philadelphia Eagles game was one, but the Pittsburgh Steelers game was bigger. As you know, this game will be a Monday Night Football game, so everybody's going to get to see this game, and both teams will be able to display, what they're capable of doing. And I know that the Steelers have been off to somewhat of a rough start with the game against the Cleveland Browns, and then again, this shootout that you had with the Kansas City Chiefs. And, for you, I'm going to start with the fan base, and then I'm going to go to you because, it's like 0 to 100 when you talk about that. So, what are the fans saying in Pittsburgh about the team, and how are they looking, and how do they feel like do they feel like they can bounce back?
I think in general, fans do think that the Steelers are going to be able to bounce back, but, the Steelers in a couple of ways are a team in transition. Last year, they got rid of a few safeties. They got rid of Mike Mitchell. They got rid of Robert Golden. And they got rid of, I believe, Josh Wilcox, a former Buccaneer. And they needed more athletes. They needed more diversification in the secondary, players that could do more. Yeah. And I still think in a lot of ways they're trying to cover up the loss of Ryan Shazier. And when you look at the draft, they brought in Terrell Edmonds from Virginia Tech, and they brought in Marcus Allen from Penn State. And they're guys that are both capable of lining up as that hybrid linebacker in what they call their dollar package. And to be able to, that, and it's hard to replace. You can never replace a Ryan Shazier. You just have to try to fill the position in with somebody that can get the job done. And so they added John Bostic as well. The whole key to, I think, what's happening now is they got to develop that chemistry within this, these sub packages. They haven't played together very long. Right. And I truly believe, by the end of the season, they're going to evolve and they're going to become a much better, much more consistent defense. So if you're going to play the Steelers early on, I think is the time to get them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that I've noticed, because I watched the Chiefs game versus the Steelers a couple of times, the one thing that they're missing is that running game. And we'll get into that a little bit more. But I tell you what, the wide receivers that you guys have are very scary to me. When you talk about especially Juju Smith-Schuster is one of my favorite wide receivers. Just the way he plays the game, and he takes advantage of every opportunity.
Sorry about that train horn.
One of those days. Well, just looking at this team and the fact that they're minus a running game, you have a rookie running back that's come in and he really hasn't. He's still trying to find his way in the NFL. You guys are kind of in a tough position right now. Would you say that?
Yeah, I would say so. When you bring in like say James Conner, I think he's totally capable of being that 30 carry a game back. But once again, he doesn't have the experience. And, there's going to be some growing pains on both sides of the ball, really.
Yeah.
And it seems like down in Tampa, you guys are executing. You're doing the basics well. And when you do the basics well, now you can build upon that and introduce, new packages, different schemes, and you grow that way.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's, like I say, we're going through the necessary growing pains.
Yeah. It was something interesting. I read one of the articles, in Steeler Wire, and they were talking about there's an issue with, I guess not communication, but gelling, the wide receiver and the quarterback gelling. And I was thinking that, with Roethlisberger having worked with these receivers for a little bit, I wouldn't think that there would be any kind of issues, coming into a new season because of the experience that they have together. Is that still the case?
Yeah, you figure Antonio Brown didn't play in any preseason games, and he missed a week or so's worth of practice, I think, with an oblique injury. So they didn't get the work that they normally get. But once again, you think after years and years of playing together that timing would be there.
Right.
I think it's just a case of, lack of, rust. I think Brown's knocking off that rust, and they're starting to get in sync.
Yeah.
I think Brown's gotten 9 catches in his first 2 games, but they're missing on the big plays. Now, when you hit them big plays and everything goes through Brown in that passing game, it opens up everything for everybody else. And you alluded to Juju a few minutes ago. Juju's he's really jumped in the forefront, and he's come up big in both games.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you're looking at this team, if you're, I'm going to have you put your defensive coordinator hat on right now. How do you defend against this Pittsburgh Steelers team to slow them down?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the run, and I'm going to force them to throw. I know, like I said, we don't have much of a running game, but if you can get any kind of running attack at all, now that opens up play action. And that's where Ben Roethlisberger's been so deadly, especially him and Antonio Brown for years now. You take away that running game and teams know you're going to pass, it makes it a bit easier to, you can take Brown out of the game and pray that Schuster doesn't get you. And really, behind Schuster, you got James Washington, who's a rookie. So there's not a whole lot of experience back there. I mean, Darius Hayward-Bay, he'll get a few catches.
There's another receiver that you guys have.
Okay.
And I'm having to cheat here and go and look. Antonio Brown. And I just had his name too.
Justin Hunter?
Yes, Justin Hunter. How is he fitting? How is he scheme-wise? How's he fitting in?
He hasn't seen a whole lot of action. I mean, they use him pretty much just on the go route. He's our deep threat. And I think ultimately that's why James Washington was drafted, because he is a polished route runner, but he's also got that deep speed for the go route. Pretty soon, at some point this year, I think Hunter will be sort of phased out of that role, and he'll drop to the 4th, maybe 5th spot.
Okay. So, and again, I'm just kind of getting at, trying to give the listeners a chance to, see who the Pittsburgh Steelers have. And the one thing that really stuck out to me was you guys were able to shoot it out with the Kansas City Chiefs. They jumped out to a lead, and they started getting ahead, but it looked like in the second half, Ben kind of regained his composure, and there were plays that he made with his legs that really contributed to the Steelers being in this game all the way up to the end. So it's just one of those things, it concerns me that you can't get into a shootout with Ben Roethlisberger, or you don't really want to.
Right. But it's looking the same way. It looks like Fitzpatrick's developed quite an air attack himself. Him and Mike Evans, and
Yeah, and I kind of want to jump over to the Buccaneers right now, and with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and again, I don't know how much you've gotten to watch them this season, but pretty much everybody in the sports world had written the Buccaneers off with the exception of us local fans and people that follow the Buccaneers, we've gotten a chance to really see what they've built over a period of time. What they were able to do on offense, it looks like, last season when you kind of look back, there was a question on the play calling. There was a question about execution, as you mentioned before. That's one of my themes, has been my theme since offseason going into the season. Execution is very important because you get some people that question play calling, but you still have to go out and execute the plays in order to make everything work. So now you have a plethora. That's my SAT word for today. A plethora of different players. You have an O.J. Howard at tight end. You have Mike Evans. You have Deshaun Jackson. And another guy that I'm sure you haven't seen yet, but, somebody to keep your eye on is Chris Godwin. Different weapons that they can use, the Bucs can use to spread the field. And the one thing that the Bucs did not have last season that you are going to see this season is that offensive line. And we've seen that in the last two games where the offensive line has, for the most part, been able to keep Fitzpatrick upright, where he's able to get the ball down the field. And, just watching his team has just been really exciting. I mean, they had a shootout with Drew Brees, and you rarely see Drew Brees lose a shootout, but they were able to come out and win. And with the upgrades that they've made on defense, with people like Bo Allen, people like Vinny Curry, bringing in a Jason Pierre-Paul, just fixing that defensive line to where they can get pressure on the quarterback, as you saw against Nick Foles, making the quarterback uncomfortable. So they're still gelling, as we talked about communication and getting on the same page with the receiver and the quarterback. You're seeing that with the defensive line, where they're just starting to come together, where they're starting to work as a team. So that's a work in progress, and you're going to continue to see that throughout the season. So that's kind of something that you want to, kind of look at as you're watching the game. Now, I kind of want to flip to the other side and talk about the defense. I'm not real familiar with Pittsburgh's defense. The one guy I do know is Bud Dupree, and I wanted to ask you, how is he doing transitioning into his role as a pass rusher?
I think the biggest, he's doing a lot better. They moved him to the left side this year because, if you watch him in his route to the quarterback, he takes the long way around. And they were hoping that on the left side, A, he'd be coming from the blind side, but 2, he'd be able to shorten his route and get to the quarterback quicker. And he's getting a lot more pressure. I think, once again, by sometime during midseason, after the first month is when you're going to start seeing his transition kick in. He's certainly athletic enough. He's fast enough. Now it's just living up to that first round billing, maybe in a position that suits him better than where he was at.
Yeah, and again, I like the potential, what I see out of him, and it's going to take time. Some people progress at a faster rate than others do. Anybody else on that defense that Buccaneer fans should be looking for when we're watching this game?
Yeah, I like T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt's a second-year guy out of Wisconsin. I think he's only in his third year of his football career playing defense. And it certainly helps having JJ to fall back on and get pointers from. But he's emotional, he's intense, and he's a technician. He doesn't show any quit. He's good in coverage. Now, why they had him covering, I think it was Tyreek Hill. I know he's covering a receiver last week. That just kind of blew me away. But once again, that's just part of it.
Was that a blown coverage, or I only got to watch.
I'm guessing it from what I was able to see. I don't know that it was designed that he picked him up. I think it was, I'm going to jump on this guy because this guy missed him. Yeah, I could be wrong, but that's kind of how it appeared.
Okay. All right. So, and while we're on the subject of the defense, how does the defense improve, and what do they need to do?
I think they just need to get things back to keep it simple. Don't miss tackles. Communicate properly. That was a big issue last year. That's why they brought in Bostic. That's why they drafted guys like Edmonds, because they're good communicators. And I think a lot of it has to do with still, and obviously I could be wrong, but the impression I get is people are still trying to make up for the loss of Shazier and maybe do too much.
Right.
Rather than, hey, gap discipline, stay in your lane, stop the run when you know it's coming. Just the little things.
Right. So, as far as draft picks go, how are your draft picks fitting in to this team, and are there draft picks that are able to go out and contribute immediately?
Yeah, Edmonds he's been getting quite a bit of playing time. He missed a tackle on a touchdown that he should have made. But other than that, I mean, there's a lot of potential there. He's smart. He's picking things up. He just has to settle down, let the game come to him. And when it does slow down, he's going to be a good one. Who else? Jalen Samuels, we're excited about seeing him because he could do so much. He can line up as a tight end, a running back, line up in a slot. But I believe he has yet to make an appearance. James Washington's one we're excited about.
Is Joe Hayden going to be in this game?
I haven't heard yet, but I think he will be.
Okay.
I know he tweaked his hamstring on special teams, which has some people scratching their heads. Why is he playing special teams? But that's, but I tend to think he'll be there.
Okay. And Cameron Hayward, is Cameron Hayward healthy?
He's a little banged up, but I thought he played well against Kansas City.
I know that there were a couple times that I saw him on the sidelines, and I wasn't sure if there was some kind of injury or what was going on with him, if he was just getting a breather to go back in again.
Yeah, he was dinged up prior to the game. There was some question, I think, earlier in the week if he was going to go or not, but ultimately he got his practice time in, and he should be ready this week.
That reminds me of Mike Allstott.
Sorry about that train again.
No, that reminds me of Mike Allstott every time that he would get in the
Yeah, he's one of my all-time favorite. I'll tell you that much. I love Allstott.
Yeah. So, what's interesting, and I do want to kind of talk about one of the coach that's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. You're a longtime Steeler fan, Tony Dungy. What are your thoughts on Tony Dungy as a player, as a coach, as just a person?
I've been a fan of Dungy since 1978 when he played in Super Bowl 13 against the Cowboys. Just as a man, he's an amazing man. I mean, he's one person that's on my bucket list that I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with because he treated his players as men first. He didn't look at them as football players. They were men. And with the respect that he treated them with, I think that just made him want to play for him even more. He was a disciplinarian a lot more than people think. I've seen that evil look when he got ticked off if somebody did something that they probably shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. But he just had so much respect that, players, they love playing for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he deserves, Hall of Fame inductee as much, if not more than anybody. Yeah.
It's going to be exciting. It's one of those things. I know it's long overdue. I'm glad he's finally getting entered into the Ring of Honor. What Tony Dungy means to Tampa is there are people that are new Bucs fans that don't realize what he has done for Tampa because I remember the old ownership with the Culver Houses and some of the other head coaches that we had coming in all the way up to Sam Weish. And, they were trying to build stuff and it just didn't work. But when you got Tony Dungy in Tampa, when you got Tony Dungy in the community, when you got Tony Dungy with the players, as you talked about, everybody bought in to what Tony Dungy was talking about. And that turned this team around and it put this team on a trajectory that nobody as a football fan or as a football purist would have ever thought that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would reach. But they were able to do that and just get to a place where they could, you appreciated this team. When you went to games, you appreciated what the players were out there doing, and the players appreciated him as a coach. I was so happy when he was able to go to the Colts and get that Super Bowl win. He well deserved. I mean, it's something that it's really great, and his personality allowed him to come back to Tampa and still work with the players, still come and work with the community. And there's a lot of stuff that he does even today that benefits the Tampa Bay area. So I love this guy. I mean, he just means so much to me personally, and I'm really happy with that. So,
well, his loyalty is amazing.
Yes,
his ability to relate to everyone on the team in a different way, to be able to touch them in some way, and get the most out of them. Like I say, it was amazing how quickly he changed the culture in Tampa Bay, and that was one of the things, because I've always been somewhat of a Bucs fan. Going back to Ricky Bell and Doug Williams.
Yes,
they're just one of those teams that always play with heart, and they're always fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you could tell everybody, and I appreciate you coming on and giving us some insight on the Steelers, the upcoming game. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you before we jump off here.
I'm at Twitter. I'm Brian_Harker SW. I have a website called Pittsburgh Sports Zone, and I'm BE Harker on Facebook.
All right. And I love talking football, and as you know, even after we finish the show, we'll definitely be talking back and forth throughout the football season, because it's one of those things I just love football. So,
heck yeah.
And I really appreciate you coming on.
Oh, and I appreciate you having me. It was great to talk to you, for sure.
All right. Well, you have a good one, man. Thank you.
Will do. You do the same.
All right.
All right.
Okay, folks. I'm gonna stay on here for a little bit and just kind of talk about this game. I haven't really gotten a chance to talk about the game too much, but I do want to touch on what the Buccaneers were able to do in this game versus the give me one moment here. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Just based on this game that the Buccaneers had with the Philadelphia Eagles, a really good game, and it's one of those things where I was really excited to see what they were able to do, and it's this game surprised me. I knew that the Philadelphia Eagles, world champion Philadelphia Eagles, they had a good defense, but just seeing the play calling, seeing what Ryan Fitzpatrick was able to do, Deshaun Jackson, all these different players that were able to get out there and do what they needed to do. I thought this was a great win for the Bucs, and I'm going to go into the chat here, and guys, bear with me. I'm going to scroll up to the top because I'm really curious to see what everybody is saying here. There's somebody going to troll Eagle pages. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Let's see here. I'm going to start here at the top. Oh, yeah, we're talking about Brent Grimes. Brent Grimes has a groin injury, and I don't know if you've noticed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers these last two seasons, they take that very, very seriously, and it's very hard to get somebody back on the field right away with a groin injury. They want to make sure that those people are 100% healed before they bring them right back. So I would be shocked to see Brent Grimes back this week. I think it's something that's going to take a little bit to heal, but eventually you'll see him back in here. Let's see. And any thoughts that you have, please, please get those out here in the chat and I'll get to them. Somebody was talking about, wish you had the money for Le'Veon Bell. You know what? I think that, you can find running backs. I know that, what you're seeing right now. And that's another thing I do want to touch on with you guys. The roster is fluid, and you will hear Michael Pless say that a lot. Michael Pless from Real Bucks Talk. You'll hear him say that a lot, and he's right. This roster that you're looking at right now will not be the same by 3/4 of the way into the season. I would say even going to the bye week, the roster will not be the same. You're going to have players that are getting healthy, and there are going to be players that are going to be able to come in and contribute. And you're also going to have players that will be able to come back for the back end of the season, like a Mitch Unrein, and come in and contribute as well. So it's one of those things you just kind of have to be patient. Enjoy these wins. A win is a win. You get a win, you enjoy it. Because I remember this time last year, we were still smarting from that beating that the Arizona Cardinals had put on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So enjoying these wins are 2-0. That's 2 more wins than, and I would say the majority of America had given the Bucs a chance to win. So let's enjoy this. And I know that there are a lot of things that still need to get worked out. People are stressing about the kicker. I've heard people talking about the running game, but these are things that I really believe will work themselves out and they will get fixed. And again, the Bucs are in every game this season, so that's definitely something to keep in mind as well. When Fitz starts playing bad, then put Winston in. I've heard this argument, and again, I'm all about wins and losses. I love Jameis Winston. I'm a huge Jameis Winston fan, but what Ryan Fitzpatrick is doing right now is something very special, and you got to enjoy this as long as you can. So, I understand that there's this thing where some people want Winston in, other people want to see Fitzpatrick. I want to see this team win games. I would love to see this team in the playoffs. And that's, to me, what's most important is getting to the playoffs. And I believe that this team has the talent and they have the ability to get to the playoffs. So something definitely keep in mind. We're still early in the season. There's a lot of things that could happen. So yeah, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I'm more about the wins and losses than worried about who's going to be starting. If they're giving us the best chance to win, let's enjoy that. And let's see, enjoy it. Yeah, I agree. I enjoyed watching these last 2 games. When you go in and beat a division rival, and then you turn around and beat the Super Bowl champs, that's something really big. So again, that's something that we should enjoy that. Let's see. I think Winston might be no, I don't think his confidence is hurt, but we'll see. Eventually he'll get out on the field, but let's enjoy this while it's going on. Let's see. Big Herm. Hey, what's up, Big Herm? How you doing? Shooter and Stash. Let's see. Vita Vea might practice this week. He's making progress as well. And guys, I would rather have Vita Vea in healthy towards the back end of the season than I would at the beginning. If an injury had to happen, I'm glad it happened now. He can give this team a little bit of a boost and help that defensive line that's kind of struggling with all the injuries and all the nicks and dings that they're having right now. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. Let's see. No playoffs, bye-bye Cutter. Loving Fitzmagic. We need to stick with a hot hand. Love Winston, but he makes me nervous at times. I totally get it. I mean, whenever Jameis Winston comes in, he has to ball out. And that's no ands, ifs, or buts. He has to ball out. That's the end, and that's the end of the story right there. What Ryan Fitzpatrick is doing right now is incredible. He's showing great touch on the ball. He's put some balls in the right place, and again, that's something that you got to be excited about. Just what he's doing right now. I would love to see more of the running game, but a win is a win. And these are things that they're consistently making adjustments on. So, again, that's something that we'll have to wait and see. Anybody want to give me your players of the games, and also give me your winners and losers of this game, the Eagles versus the Buccaneers. I know for me, my biggest winner is going to be Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson coming back from a shoulder injury, concussion protocol. And then he comes in and he balls out the way he does. And, that to me, this week, that's my guy right there. As far as losers goes, God, I would have to say Nick Foles would be a guy that, the way he played. And again, I can't fault him, considering the weapons that he has. But Nick Foles would probably be my if I had to pick a loser, it would be Nick Foles. Oh yeah, there's a good one right there. Roland Brown, offensive line. Yeah, that's definitely a winner. Ryan Smith, guys, Ryan Smith is playing ball. I mean, you can say whatever you want to about Ryan Smith, but the guy played his butt off in this game, and he's definitely one of the winners in my book. Djax, yeah, Fitz Godwin, OJ, yeah. OJ got that interception because he didn't hold down the ball, but I can't hold that against him because he made up for that. Oh, Ryan Jensen is I'm so excited about this guy. The guy is nasty, and sometimes that's what you need. If they're going to go out there and win, if they can convert, I don't mind those penalties. They're just letting people know that they're here, and that's what you need right there. You need that nasty. And I think that's what this offensive line has been missing for I don't know how many years is having that nasty on the line. Callie Buck says the kicker. I don't know. There are bigger issues right now than the kicker. I mean, he made the majority of his kicks. I know he missed a field goal last week and an extra point this week. But again, that's there's nobody else out there on the street right now. You gotta ride with who you got right now. Other than there may be something in the offseason you look for a kicker, but at this point, this is the guy right here. Yeah, Ryan Jensen. That was a huge signing, to be honest. And just seeing what he's capable of doing, it's exciting to see as well. He's just ragdolling people on the second level. When he's getting to the second level on run games, he's killing it. Another guy that really got a lot of grief last week, and he really shouldn't have, was JPP. I thought JPP played a good game, and he's got a bad knee. So it was really good to see him out there playing, and he got a sack. And then lo and behold, Gerald McCoy off of a stunt gets a sack next. So again, the defense is doing some of the things that they need to do. And I'm really excited about that. we're kicker cursed. There may be some truth to that. Ever since Matt Bryant left, yeah, that's kind of been the case. But let's see, the Waterboy, he was cramped up at the game, and I was at the game, and Marpet was a brick wall. Ali Marpet is playing really good, and to me, this season, he hasn't gotten enough credit for how he's playing. But Ali Marpet, man, that's one of the biggest draft moves that Jason Light has made, and you can't say enough about that. And somebody's asking, what are the keys to victory for this Monday night game? You have to stop Ben Roethlisberger. You can't let Ben Roethlisberger extend plays. The one thing that I saw from Big Ben in that game against Kansas City is he was able to make plays with his legs, basically being disciplined. That's going to be huge. Making tackles, once you stop the run, you've taken away a dimension that the Pittsburgh Steelers kind of depend on. And you have to, once you've done that, you have to be more disciplined, especially with these wide receivers that they have. We talked about Juju Smith-Schuster and Antonio Brown, and they've got some wide receivers that can do some damage. So it's going to really be really important to start to you won't be able to stop them, but to slow them down, and getting 3 and outs are going to be huge as well. Any cornerback news, guys? I thought these young cornerbacks are slowly but surely learning, and we're seeing some of these guys making plays, and I'm pleasantly surprised. I didn't expect. I mean, when you guys go back to the draft, let's kind of rewind back to the draft. How many of you guys actually thought that these 2 cornerbacks that Jason Light drafted were actually going to be playing the second game of the season. I mean, nobody realistically thought that, and here we are, and we're seeing that. I thought that after the unicorn went out, I thought that the safety play was good. I didn't see a huge drop off the safety play. And Carl Nassib, there you go, another guy who's getting snaps and getting plays. And I know there's a lot of talk about a lot of players that are inactive or they haven't been playing. Well, you have to keep in mind with the number of injuries, and I believe this. I don't believe that people are in the doghouse like a lot of people do. I believe that they're making room for other people to be able to get out there and play. So it's just one of those things that this team, I think if they can just continue to play and take it one game at a time, don't overlook any team that you are going to face. And I think the Buccaneers will be fine. To be very honest, I don't see, again, I keep saying this, I sound like a broken record. I just don't see a team out there that the Bucs can't beat. And let's see. Thank you, Buffalo Bills, for the 2 second-round picks. Comes exactly. That's very true. Pittsburgh Sports Zone. This game is tailor-made for O.J. Howard. Yes, a guy that, and another guy that we haven't really talked about. And don't be surprised if you see him, later on in the season. You may not see him now, but that's Cameron Brate. I think there's another weapon that we haven't even talked about, but here's another guy that can come out and make plays as well. We saw what O.J. Howard was capable of doing, and then here comes Cameron Brate, and I think that he would be able to make some plays as well. And Big E says they've got their swagger back, and that's so important. You're absolutely right, man. You cannot go into a game without some level of confidence. So to me, that's going to be huge as well. Being able to come in and execute and make those plays, and if you miss a play, being able to bounce back and make a play on the next time around. So it's one of those things that again, the Bucs are in a good position right now. And I believe that, win or lose, you're going to get to see if this team is making improvements from game to game. So let me see. I'm going back through here to make sure I haven't missed anything. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there you go. Stephen Thomas, thank you. There weren't many penalties. And that's another thing that we can be excited about. There weren't a lot of penalties in this game, and that really helped. I know last year we saw some drive-killing penalties that really hurt the Bucs that could have put them in a position to win games. And just because of that happening, it didn't go down that way. Another thing, guys, I don't know if you're noticing it, but they're getting key 3 and outs. They're getting the defense is getting the offense off the field, and they're giving Ryan Fitzmagic another opportunity to get the ball down the field. So I'm excited about that. Adam Humphries, another guy, and I know that Peter Blake calls him the Lazarus man because everybody leaves him for dead, and he rises from the dead, and he gets out there and plays. So Shooter and Stash, they've got a chance for another huge game by the offense. Pittsburgh's D is missing something. And, that's kind of what I saw. Yeah, I don't know if it's the coverage or what, but Mahomes was throwing. He was just lights out when he was just putting the ball in space, and he wasn't throwing to people. He was throwing to a space, and these guys were making these plays. It was just incredible to watch him do that. And Cali Buck, that's a great point. Talking about Sean Wilson. Sean Wilson had that good run, that the first run by him in the game. I thought they would have went back to him a little bit more, but they kind of brought in Peyton Barber, and just to they've been running the ball with him since then. Big playoff entry tiebreaker win as well, if it comes down to that later. Yeah, that's very true. Again, the Steelers, I think the Steelers will put it together. I just hope it's not this week. But they have some talent on that team, just watching them play. And I believe that, hopefully after this week, they'll put it all together and get their first win not this week, but the week after. And We have Peyton Barber. We have to give Peyton a Barber at least 20 times. I agree. I think they abandoned the run, and that I don't know. I don't know what uh, it worked. They got the win. I'm not going to second guess anything in this game, but establishing the run is going to be big as well versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're going to have to get some semblance of a running game in order to in order to make this work. Everyone needs to shut up about sitting Winston for Fitz. The online and Todd Monken's play calling has helped Fitz out a lot. Winston was running for his life 3 years. He started and had trash play calling. Again, Sean, it's wins and losses, bro. I want to see this team get to the playoffs. I don't care who's under center as long as this team is winning. This is what I'm looking for. Roland Brown, this could be another shootout like the Saints game. The one thing, and I go back to the wide receivers, that scares me. I just looked at a stat that said that I think the Bucs defense has given up like 77%. What is it? 77% passing completion rating just by defenses against our defense. So it's something that has to get looked at. It and when you've got two wide receivers like what we're looking at, I mean, it's we're going to be looking at on Monday. This is going to be kind of interesting to see how all this works out. Our offensive line is good at pass blocking, but not at all at run blocking. Yeah, it's one of those things. Again, it's you have to kind of keep it going. Largo Buck, you don't sit Fitz when he's this hot. Yeah, he's throwing for a damn near 1,000 yards almost. So if Winston had this O-line and Monken play calling, the plays would have been again, it's listen, I don't really want to get into the whole Winston Fitzpatrick thing. Everybody's got their opinion. Fitzpatrick is starting. That's the game that we should all be focused on is the Steelers game and not who's going to be in after that. Let's focus on this game. This game is very important. This game means a lot. It's a home game. It's a Monday Night Football game. If the Bucs win this game, this is telling everybody in the sports world to shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that's how I'm looking at it, because I'm sick of seeing all these tweets, because I stopped watching the national media because they don't cover the Bucs right. That's why you have to go to podcasts like Pewtercast. Real Bucs Talk has their podcast. What the Buck has their podcast. And, all these different podcasts are out there because these other guys aren't covering the Bucs like they should be. Ronald Brown, I haven't heard for sure if Vita Vea is playing, but he's getting closer and closer, and that's, pretty much what I've heard. Is the word on Ronald Jones. He just needs to learn the playbook and pass blocking. Ronald Jones does not on special teams from what the interview that I saw. He's not on special teams, and they're really trying to get people that are multifaceted to be out there. So eventually we'll see him. All I'm saying is, guys, you got to be patient. Let's let this play out. Trust the process, and enjoy these 2 wins. And we got the Bucs have the Steelers coming up, so that's the game that we should be looking at. What's the word, Ronald Jones? I think, yeah, I believe that the Bucs can win this game. Win for Tony Dungy in the Ring of Honor night, please. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm from Wyoming, and people here are talking about the Bucs. That's what's up, man. You got to rep the Bucs every day too. Real Talk Perez, don't forget about my gaming channel. Got you, man. Monday night game with the Steelers comes at a perfect time to see if this team is ready for the next step. So far, so good. We'll see if they're up for the primetime challenge. The Bucs have to approach this as this is the next game. And that's all they can do. They need to go out there and execute plays like they've been doing, make sure they cut down on mistakes, and don't give this team a chance to come back. When you get them down, keep them down. Sean Castillo, Vita will be very good on defense when he's healthy. I'm calling it now. Huh? Never mind. Shout out to schedule makers. Charles, shut up, Charles. I ain't even trying to listen to what you got to say, man. You can kick rocks and go worry about your sorry Dallas Cowboys, buddy. Everybody talking about the Bucks. Heck yeah. Shooter and Stash. Should we sign Mike Glenn? No, what? Mike Glennon? Man, you guys. Big Herm. I'm a ride or die Bucks fan. Dude, this game is gonna be lit. Is anybody in the chat going to the game? First and foremost, I meant to ask that. Offense is set up for any QB that sticks to the script. How all the rookie quarterbacks looked in preseason unstoppable. Peyton Barber was the hero on that first play. Steeler killer, bro. Animation gold. Bucks finally are starting to fast and finishing strong. And that was my motto this season. There you go. I want to see the Rams versus the Bucks. I said Vita Vea will be a good offensive weapon as well. Monken will use him sometimes as a fullback. That's possible, I guess. I've never seen that, but it's possible. I want to go who's got an extra ticket. Oh, yeah, Ryan Smith. Ryan Smith had a good game, too. And our offense versus the Rams defense. I gave y'all a shout out. I'm liking y'all right now. How can you not like McGregor Fitzpatrick? Yeah, this is true. Hey, the defense is not ready for the Rams yet. Man, the Rams are a well-oiled machine, and they're quietly kept secret. Just watching those guys play, just the play calling and just the way they go out onto the field and execute. Man, they're going to be scary. They're scary to watch, especially down the stretch. Productive running back is in college. Oh, Pless will be joining on Wednesday. He actually this was actually a last minute thing. I wanted to get a Steelers person on to kind of talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers so that we can kind of get that content out there. I'm trying to get more rival podcasters on to talk about their team, just so you guys have an idea of who the Buccaneers are going to be facing. That's the majority of the reason I do that is to, just kind of make sure everybody's educated. And let's see, Shooter Stash, who abducted Ryan Smith this offseason and taught him how to play defense. Hey, hard work pays off, man. That's what you got to do. Yeah, man, we dodged a bullet with Gruden, man. I swear to you. Shooter, this is why we have to be patient with players. Yeah. Oh, man, dude, I'm watching Khalil Mack, and I'm trolling every Raiders fan that I know, man, because they've been giving me the business for years. And now they're stuck with Gruden. But, not to be mean, but I'm just waiting to see who they draft in the draft because that's going to be a total nightmare, the whole draft situation. So we'll see. On another note, Chicago defense is scary. Heck yeah, they're scary. They added a piece. They added a once in a lifetime player out there that was just handed to him because the head coach, man, his ego got the best of him. So I don't know, man. I just leave it like it is. So we can hear say him. Yeah. I wish we could have gotten Mac out. That would be ridiculous right there. That's a good idea. Get some guys from each opponent's season and show the. Yeah, I'm working on that, man. Sometimes it's kind of tough to get them, but other times it works out good. This is one of those things that we should have been doing this show on Wednesday, but because I couldn't get him, our schedules were all messed up. Couldn't get him on. It just didn't work out. I am working out with I'm working out with something with Buccaneer Report, and we'll start getting the content on there as well. I appreciate you guys out here in the chat doing what you do. Every week the chat is lit, and I appreciate all you guys. I mean, some people show up and I haven't seen them, and I've seen them for a long time. And other guys, just show up out of nowhere. So all the people I haven't seen, shout out to the people I haven't seen or heard from or talked to in a long time. Shout out to all you guys. You guys are the real MVPs. We just beat the best defense in the league. The Bears don't scare us. Yeah, well, again, it's one game after one game at a time, man. That's how I'm kind of looking at it right now. Let's see, Nobel. Yeah, I just kind of went through the chat. That's pretty much it, guys. We'll be back on again on Wednesday, and I will have Pless on with me. If you guys haven't heard, Michael Pless for Real Bucks Talk and his partner Mark Ramirez, they actually started a podcast that they do where they're like breaking down plays and stuff like that. I just get on to run my mouth. It's therapeutic, and drink beer. I just happen to have forgotten to bring a beer up with me. Is the only reason I'm doing this the way I'm doing it right now. But I'll make up for that on Wednesday. Don't worry. And any final thoughts from anybody? So you guys, and just as a show of hands, how many people like this on Mondays? Do you like Mondays better than Wednesdays? I normally don't do early week only because I like to watch all 22. There's a lot of plays that I missed. I was actually watching at work because you can see some of it, but I can't see the coach's film until after the I guess after the Monday night game or whatever. But I like to watch all 22. It's very important that I know what the heck I'm talking about even a little bit before I come on. Just basing everything on what I see live or what I see on TV is not the same as getting a chance to break it down and take a little bit closer look. So I like to have a better idea of what I'm talking about. How good do you think our defense will be after we get all the injured players back? Defense is going to be scary. The defense is going to be problems for a lot of people. When you talk about you haven't seen Vita Vea, you haven't seen Mitch Unrein, Brent Grimes isn't back yet. And, what this team is doing right now, they're still coming together. That defensive line is very new. So we're still seeing them coming together. And I said this last week, I kind of touched on it a little bit. It takes about 5 or 6 games to really know what kind of team you have. Because when you look at preseason, the Buccaneers starters only got to play a half and like maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes. That doesn't really tell you a whole lot about what you're seeing facing a live team with that amount of time. So getting your players together, getting schemes down, actually game planning and get these guys together, working as a team and getting to work as a unit, as old school would say from what the Buck working in concert. That's what you want to see. That's what you want to see your defense doing. And we haven't gotten there yet. And I forgot to mention Kendall Beckwith. A lot of players that are injured that will be coming back on the back end of the season. I'm serious. This is going to be a scary defense. The final thought. How about them Cowboys? Hey, you know what? The Cowboys going to get that work on Christmas Eve. That's going to be my Christmas present to myself, watching them bums get beat down. That's what I'm looking forward to, my boy Charles. And if you want to put some money on that, we can talk about this offline. All I can say is we win this game. It's going to be lit in Tampa. You know how games are, especially Monday night games. That is crazy. Wishing Fitz and the Bucks a lot of luck. Mostly, yeah, buddy. It's going to be a good game, man. And yeah, I'm serious. We could bet it. We could put a case of beer on that Dallas Bucks game on the 24th. I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, I'm looking through the chat. I think I covered. Did I miss anybody? Big Herm, believe in you, digging your podcast. Keep it up. You got it on. Got you on heavy rotation. Hey, I appreciate that, man. It's something I enjoy doing, man. And the fans need a voice. And I've been saying this for a while. I kind of stopped with the big networks. I only watch podcasts only because podcasts are close to what we want to talk about. There are podcasts that I don't agree with, but I'll watch them anyway because it's local and they're giving a different opinion of what the Bucks are doing. Whereas if you turn on national media, on my Twitter line, I saw some of the most ignorant stuff. The Lorax. I'll take that. I will take that right there. I saw some of the most ignorant stuff from NFL Network, from ESPN, so on and so on and so on about this team. Everybody had written this team off. I've seen 1 in 16. I've seen so many. It's just ridiculous. It's frustrating, but we know because we sit here and we watch this stuff. We know what this team is doing, and the one thing that's important to me is making sure that you guys get to know. You guys get a voice. That's why I've got you in the chat. I make sure that I name drop everybody that I can on the chat. So you guys keep doing what you're doing. You're on here. You're on the screen. Keep in mind, I've got this up on a couple of different places as well. I'm going to try to start using Twitch here pretty soon, so there'll just be another platform. I appreciate all you guys again for stopping in on a Monday, short notice, and the chat was full. So we'll have Pless on here on Wednesday, and we'll definitely be talking some football. Get to break down some plays. I'll get a chance to look at all 22, so I can talk logically a little bit. And I made a comment. I made a tweet this morning, and I was talking about the kicker, and went back and looked at the play, and the kicker missed the kick, and I was wrong. I did wrong, missed that, and the kicker did. He blew the kick. So I wanted to get out there and tell you the one thing you know about me is I'm not afraid to be wrong. And that's the cool thing about being me is if you're wrong, you're wrong, whatever, you keep it moving. But yeah, I was wrong. And I appreciate that. Charles, I'm just messing with you, man. I know you've always given the Bucks grief, but I do, I do like talking trash, man. So, it's a lot of fun. Oh, Vegas. Heck yeah. Vegas is pissed. The one person that went to Vegas and took the over on that 6.5 right here. So when it's time to go collect, I'm definitely going to go collect. And I'm going to talk so much trash when I do it. But anyway, this is a lot of fun. This is the kind of atmosphere you want when the Bucks are winning. I love this. And this is the year, I'm telling you. Why not the Bucks? If anybody tells you the Bucks can't make it to the playoffs, you have to ask why not? Why not the Bucks? The Bucks have the weapons, and I think they have the momentum. This could be the season. And again, one game at a time. But all I'm saying is it's not out of the realm of possibility for the Buccaneers to go to the playoffs. And we will win this next game, and you're gonna have to come bail me out of jail because I'm gonna be lit. All right. All right, man. I'll get a GoFundMe started right now, so we'll be ready to go. But guys, that's pretty much all I have for today. And again, I want to thank everybody that's in the chat. I appreciate everything that you guys bring to the show. And I'm gonna go ahead and jump out of here and enjoy the rest of my night.
It couldn't catch another ship, yeah.